Hey folks, I am Snuffleupagus, and you are here for some Fury of Dracula. Um, we have a tournament game today. We are in week 4 of the Duos and Dark Calls tournament. We have a great game today between Terminus of team Greatest Player blah 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 versus Strider656 of team Helm's Deep Dish, who is playing Dracula. I'm not alone today. I got someone very special, newer member of the community. He is the martial marsupial, the dueling dipperdot, the fighting fuzzball, combat wombat. Say hello, buddy.
That is quite the introduction, the fighting fuzzball. I might have to change my avatar after that.
Yeah, I was looking up synonyms for wombat, synonyms for combat, for a little while earlier today. So I'm
Gotta
glad
love
you
it.
appreciated the intro. I'm certainly glad to have you here with me.
Thanks for having me here. Excited to do this.
So it looks like our players today, Strider and Terminus, are having a little bit back and forth about getting revenge. Maybe they played a casual game earlier. I think that's what the suggestion is. It'll be a
Excellent. Well, hopefully they leave it all out on the match tonight, all out on the floor.
yeah. This is a big match. We're about a third of the way done with the tournament, right? And Strider, the who will never stop reminding you, he is the New Blood tournament champ, the king of the noobs. He is, along with his partner Wakachik, in first place. And I'm sorry, his partner Pizza Wizard. And Terminus and his partner Wakachik are fairly close by, only one win behind in fourth place. So this is a big game to see who's gonna be at the top of the tables here. See if Strider and Pizza Wizard can hold that spot.
It's certainly going to be a good one. Terminus is a great player and has been around the community, I think, for a while. Is that right?
Not really. He joined a little bit before the most recent League of Dracula tournament, which happened last fall. So I'd say he's been around for maybe 9 months. Strider joined before me. He was in the League of Dracula 2023 was his first tournament, I think. So I want to say Strider's been around like almost 2 years versus about 9 months of Terminus, but they're both very talented players, and it really could be anyone's game here.
Excellent. Strider's got quite the background. He's got a channel on YouTube. If you search Strider656, you'll see his channel that hosts, in addition to Fury of Dracula, also War of the Ring, which he's quite good at as well.
Yes, that is fascinating. One of these days I want to learn that game. But
It's got quite the robust community and very deep tournament play. So it's a good one. I think partially because it's so accessible with the Java client that it has built out there.
oh, good. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of depth to it, much like the game we're watching here. Terminus
Big
is
money got
doing a superhero start. That is to say, the strongest hunters, Seward and Godalming, are together in Venice, um, while Mina Harker is by herself in Madrid, Spain. There's some pros and cons to that. I have come to like this start, and it's become my go-to. It wasn't always my go-to. What are your thoughts about the superhero start combat?
I am a fan of starting Dracula in odd places. And when I see a start like this, it makes me a little bit hesitant to drop Dracula just automatically out in the East. So I do feel like it's a pretty interesting take. It does sort of feel like Mina's a little bit exposed in Spain, but there definitely are some advantages based on the search cards that you might pull up, and she's not too many rail rides away from backup and help.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. And the other advantage to it is that Stewart has one more item slot, so Godalming, who supplies at a more rapid pace, if he draws more good items, it's a little easier to make sure that good items don't need to be discarded based on the carrying capacity of Godalming and Mina. So I like it for that reason as well. But as you
I
said, the
often
go ahead.
Go ahead.
But as you said, the Mina being by herself is a little bit vulnerable if the drag starts in Iberia or in the spots near Iberia like Toulouse and Bordeaux, it can be a little bit vulnerable for her to an early aggressive drac.
I have played this setup a couple of times. I have probably 20, 30 games as Drac and maybe 5 or 6 games as Hunters down. So my Hunter experience is not great. I do feel like if I were using this strat, I would be very tempted to just sit Mina in place permanently in Spain, just because I would be worried about stumbling onto Dracula early if I had reason to move.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. And obviously at the beginning you're supplying anyway. I tend to like to leave Mina where she is and supply until Drac is revealed at the earliest, and sometimes leave her there longer. But if there's an evil presence or local rumors, sometimes you can feel comfortable to move her by rail to Bordeaux or Paris, um, on the thinking that, okay, local rumors or evil presence reveal the spaces around Spain, so it's less likely that Drac is going to be there unless he did some very funny movements, around Barcelona. So if you move Mina up midweek one, she can sometimes be in a position to say, get to an early encounter in Amsterdam, for instance. So that can work. That same approach can work with a Scotswood start as well, or with the Pizza Wizard start, right? It's not exclusive to that, but it can sometimes be helpful making sure you have someone who can access everywhere.
I do feel like with this setup, it sort of evens the playing field for likelihood of Dracula starting areas. For example, with the superheroes out in the center, I don't think the East is necessarily any better or worse than Germany or London or Spain or Italy. It seems like it's a fairly up in the air, equally bad opportunities for Drac no matter which way they go. So, what's your gut telling you where Strider might pick in this situation?
Oh man, I've played him so many times, and he really doesn't have a go-to. He can do south, the kind of the middle of the map, like southern France, northern Italy to start. He can do eastern starts. He can do Britannia starts. I'd be rolling the dice with what I would guess, but just to make sure I say something definitive, I'm going to say he did a Frankfurt start.
The fact that almost every game I've ever played Strider, he misdirects that third card. And the fact that he didn't misdirect that third card here makes me think he's
Ooh.
somewhere central, either in Austria, Hungary, or Germany, would be my guess at this point.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that he didn't misdirect. He's getting punished for it immediately because newspapers just revealed that it's Santander, right next to Mina.
Well, we're circling Mina probably then, or do you think he went up north through Bordeaux?
My guess would have been Bordeaux, so that by the time he gets to, say, Geneva or something, he can wolf away and cause some confusion. But I'm not really sure of that. It's a little bit of a guess. It and Santander is not the first encounter. It is his starting space. So Mina's gonna have to think about whether she wants to go to Bordeaux or stick around where she is a little longer.
Oftentimes, if you don't misdirect that empty card, that starting location, it sort of suggests that maybe you want to eventually layer it. And that does seem like an interesting, hard to get back to spot to layer, unless you're just doing a big circle around Spain, Santander, and then out to the west coast, and then down south, and a big circle around again, possibly.
Yeah, Santander's an interesting space that it can be appealing to go back to, in part because, um, most of the times when you're landing from a sea voyage, you wolf form in. But there's a few spaces that are technically safe from CG that are if you land on them. And Santander is one of them because it abuts four other spaces. So CG can never completely trap you if you land in Santander. So it can be nice to go there, have a little bit of a buffer for yourself, and then move again after, either by wolf form or something else. Like it's a nice space for Drac. And it's also the space that's on the way into Spain. If the hunters need to go into Spain to clear stuff, so I could see how that could be a very effective layer.
I'm
Um,
going to predict Santander to France and Bordeaux, and then a hide on there to try to trap Mina when she moves in there.
Yeah, I like that guess. One other quick thing we didn't comment on, there was a Rufus Smith put into play. I personally like that Terminus did not take the search and took the ally, but that's a deeply divisive topic when you get an early ally, whether to ally them or use the search in hopes that you'll get a surprising return later. What do you think about that?
That is something I have not. I do not have a default for my hunter game on that one yet. I don't think I've played hunters quite enough to have a take. My default, I think, is probably to ally, just because I don't seem to be very good at early guessing. And even if you do guess and find it early, if it's very early, it doesn't necessarily do you a whole lot of good because by the time the hunters are ready to go, oftentimes maybe they're not as well equipped as they should be. But I don't have a strong opinion on that one way or the other.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We've having a lot of action in terms of revealing the trail here. We had another newspaper report, and we had a hired scouts. Now we know Dracula has hidden Cadiz after going Santander, Lisbon, Cadiz hide. Very interesting
Holy
position.
cow.
Wow. Um, if you are the hunter player like Terminus, you're probably going to start as soon as you reasonably can, getting some extra help over to Mina.
That would
That's
seem right. And based on the rumor token, it seems like it could be Hoax in Lisbon, some sort of vampire plus protector card in under the hide, likely, I would assume.
I think that's a good guess. Yep. The tricky thing is with Dracula right there, you'd be tempted now to just go to Lisbon now, right? Hit the hoax, assuming it is a hoax, be well in advance of needing to of that hide maturing and hurting you, right? But the problem is there's a chance there could be like a bats into a double combat event with the hopes of killing Mina early. My gut is that that's not the play here, but especially with Dracula right there, if it is an aggressive Drac play, I don't know if Terminus can risk just landing on it now. So I think
So
Terminus needs to really track it.
the concern would be move to Lisbon and then get batted into double vampire and Cadiz. Is that sort of the thought process there?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility of that this is an aggressive Dracula play. I don't think it's what it is. I think it is, as you said, a hide to a vamp, especially given the rumor token. But I don't know if I would feel confident enough to move now. I might wait, a little longer. Plus, by waiting a little bit, you're forcing Drac to either use his wolf form or, you know, you're limiting his movement a little bit because Dracula, if you vacate Madrid, is going to want to go to Madrid probably.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep, if you leave to go to Lisbon, even if you do eliminate the hoax, that gives Drac the ability to immediately move into Madrid, drop something there to cause problems later, and then head out into Paris.
So it's very tricky for Terminus to decide if he's going to jump onto Lisbon or Cadiz and when.
What are the odds that hunters have drawn all heavenly hosts and consecrated craft in the event that Drac moves to 26?
Probably quite low, but that is a consideration, You can't rule that out entirely. And Strider, like many of us, including me, has had games go poorly because they got CG nuked in Granada when they didn't expect it. All right, so we've seen wolf form. I'm guessing that's a wolf form to get out of Spain, like a wolf form to Saragossa, but we'll see. By the way, if anyone is in the chat, I don't see any messages, but if you are in the chat and want to let us know you're here, say hi. We're happy to banter with you a little bit as we watch this game.
So if you're hunters, how much time do you spend checking at this point where Drac will form to, or do you just let sleeping dogs lie and worry about the trail at this point?
Well, now you're going to find it now because he just drew another 100 scouts,
Holy cow.
and it was Saragossa. If I'm Terminus, I think I'm going to be a little annoyed at drawing all of these search scouting events right at the beginning. It's a little bit of an overload. Um, we'll see. The nice thing is that he knows the trail for certain, and he can move to Lisbon. He can feel more comfortable moving to Lisbon now if he's so inclined. Um, but interesting situation for sure.
Absolutely.
Strider
So
maybe.
we are likely looking at maybe 1 or 2 more days of full supply. What are the odds that the hunters have their horses and tickets, usually by what's your rule of thumb as Dracula when you're sort of counting on hunters to be able to safely start moving around? Well, is it the end of week 1, halfway through week 2?
If I'm playing Drac, I assume that the hunters have at least the white ones collected by the time newspaper day comes. It's just a safer assumption to make, and it feels like that's usually the case. I haven't done the math on what the odds are of that, but you can sometimes see by their play. I mean, if you don't see the hunters move by horse on day 5, you can suspect that they maybe don't have their horse economy in line yet, and you can kind of take that into consideration. But if I know nothing else and I'm Dracula and it's the day it's about to be, I'm playing as if they have, a horse economy with that allows them to move using horses.
Seems like Dracula's likely to head up to the small towns of 54, 15, 24, probably as a default thought process
Yeah,
here.
it's interesting. I think you're right, right? He wants to get to a place where he can cause some confusion and obfuscation of his location, and the only way to do that is to go by sea or take that 54 path. Um, I think 36 is kind of appealing because you can lay down an encounter that can be really annoying for hunters because 36 is such an efficient place for hunters to move to, 36 being Marseille. But
If
when
it
you're
if it's
so,
me,
yeah,
I go down to 1 with this move, 126.34, assuming that Mina's going to move out of Spain about the time that she's going to go into Lisbon.
yeah, that's an interesting idea. Because you could put something down, then go into Madrid, and then you could hop back into your lair and create a situation that is, whoa,
All
interesting.
right, or we're doing this.
Or we're doing this. So Mina is showing a rifle. Drac is taking a one-on-one combat. Mina's going to get a day combat. Um, we'll see how this goes. This could
Yeah,
be really bad for Drac.
there is no escaping his bats in this situation for Dracula, right? Because it's a day combat.
Correct. You can escape his bat to leave the combat, but it won't allow you to move 2 spaces
Got
as
it.
a knight
Yeah.
escape his bat would. Wonder what is behind this play. I get
This
wanting to go back
seems
to your lair, but
unusually aggressive to me.
I guess he's thinking, okay, if she has a stake, she's going to use it on the presumed vamp, in which case she has fewer weapons. And if she doesn't, you know, may as well make it harder for her to deal with this trail. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. It's a fully equipped Mina. I think you assume she tries to escape here, so maybe the mesmerize claw combo here. Mina's probably just gonna try to get out of here, or maybe not.
Well, if I'm Terminus, I'm happy that Mina has a knife and a gun. That's
Yep.
gives her a bit of protection. And if I'm Terminus, and I have holy bullets, I might try to get some quick damage in, even though it can be healed with feed. Might be worth a shot. Let's
I
see.
think he dodges here, and Drac probably plays strength. Is my guess.
Fang. Okay.
I'll be back in one quick sec.
No problem. We got an escape. Okay, so Drac heals 1, Mina takes 2. Small win for Dracula. But what happens next? 1, 2, 3, 4. They had renewed vigor and the cards all in the right place. You could get a second hunter in there. I assume this early in the game that is not the setup. I chose to do this since Van Helsing is at sea and can't trade her, FYI. Interesting. Well, that damage might matter if it is like a hoax vamp combo. Okay, Seward has a horse and is moving. So we have to assume now that the horse economy is in place, and there is at least one horse that can help get Munisum back up. That that move is basically the effect of like almost a souped up rats. Deal 2 damage, heal 1. Not too bad.
I am back. Had to depart momentarily there.
No problem. Terminus is now thinking about what to do with Mina, whether to move her off or something else. I wonder if this long pause means that, Terminus, I don't know if it means he has something else with her, like a heroic leap he's thinking of using, or a escape route,
That'd be interesting. Yep.
or maybe he's worried about moving to Lisbon. Oh, he's going to Santander. Interesting.
Wild.
Yeah. Huh. To Terminator, great to have you. Star Wars Rebellion, I believe, is you, CombatWombat, right?
That's me. Yep.
Sweet. Terminator, great to have you. Feel free to chime in with your thoughts as the game proceeds. Yeah, we had an interesting situation where Dracula started in Santander, and as you can see, kind of looped around the southern part of Iberia, wolfed to Saragossa, and then surprisingly walked onto Mina in Madrid. So did not put down an encounter there. But the combat was a little bit anticlimactic. Drac healed 1 from a Fang, Mina escaped. So we have a very interesting start. Um, both in terms of Drac jumping on Mina early, which usually you'd see that more if there was already some damage on her, and Mina going to Santander rather than say trying to clear the trail in Lisbon and Cadiz is also a little bit surprising. But I understand what Terminus is going for, not knowing what is under there. Yeah, targeting me from the start. Yeah, exactly right. Terminus doesn't know if that's a standard hoax vampire start, which maybe he can handle, or if it's you know, all combat stuff to beat Mia down so that Dracula can keep jumping on her and keep damaging her. Dracula can't jump onto Cadiz or Saragossa, but he could misdirect Lisbon if he wanted to. And certainly he can walk onto Santander as he layers it.
However, if he then follows Mina there, the layered card, there's not any layered card he could put down that would help him in that battle. Is that right?
Correct. The layer wouldn't, trigger before dawn. It would only trigger when someone searches it or jumps on it and is ambushed. So you're right. Whatever he puts down there would not help him for the dawn combat, and maybe it wouldn't help in a dusk combat either if no one triggers it. Yeah, very interesting start. Strider does some interesting, quirky things with his play. He's known for doing night supplies far more frequently than other people in this community when he's playing hunters. Um, I hadn't known him to be like the most aggressive Drac player, but today it seems like that is what he's chosen to do. So we'll see how it works out. Bold strategy, Cotton.
It's a bold strategy. It might just work.
I wonder if he's tempted to jump on her again. He's
Yeah,
thinking, thinking
I
here.
can't imagine that being a good idea. You're not that far away from. I mean, Seward in theory is a. Could he get there with a? Yeah, I guess in theory he could horse and then drop a chartered carriage and make it there, right? If he had a renewed vigor.
Seward, I don't know if he could get there. He would need a renewed vigor, and he would need two, three, four. Yeah, he could have a renewed vigor and a chartered carriage, and then a normal move would do it, or a sense of emergency and a normal move would do it,
I see. Yeah,
or a Van Helsing with a regular old sense of emergency and no renewed vigor could get there. But
that's true.
moot point though, because Dracula has gone presumably to Alicante. Um, Theoretically, possibly went to Granada. My gut says he's not risking the CG nuke location. And Terminus has gotten so many trail reveal search events this early game. This evil presence was another one of these. These are events that typically are more helpful later in the game. Um, okay. Yeah, he has had this evil presence. He's had two hired scouts. He's had two newspaper reports. Um, so that explains kind of how this entire trail has been revealed so quickly.
Now, do you think Mina goes to Lisbon here?
Suspicious that she does. I have to think that Terminus is going to assume, as you did, that this is a hoax, in which case you would want to clear it.
Hello to Jordy in the chat.
Hola, company. Hey, Jordy. Hey, Gio. Welcome, welcome. We've had a very interesting start here so far with very aggressive Drac play and a lot of trail revealing cards. And it was a bats, so I think it shows that Terminus's caution was well was justified. So now I have to assume that Mina is about to get batted into a vamp, where she could get bitten and killed. She may even be about to be batted into a double vamp in Cadiz, or she could be
She could
batted
also
into a
be
lair.
added back into the layer in 47 would be a possibility too.
Yes, that would be a little bit less bad for her, but maybe a little bit less likely that the vamps get killed. I think that Strider's going for the aggressive play and is going to bat her into Cadiz. We'll see. We'll see.
And that would be a night fight that she'd have to deal with there.
Yeah, potentially up to two night fights if it's a double vamp in Cadiz and hide.
Spicy play.
Yep, going for the aggressive play. We got the ambush.
Now, because it's Sunday, how many points would that be if he does kill Mina?
I want to say it's two,
Two?
but I'm
Yeah, it
not
might be two.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
one of the downsides to that is, it's a lot of effort to get what you could get with a couple of Fang points from a Reckless, but also discarding tickets and potentially horses too.
Yeah, we know that Mina has a knife and a rifle. We don't know what her last card is. She also has a chartered carriage and an event that we don't know about, and we don't know what her tickets are. But if you can kill her and make her drop those tickets, drop those events, drop the knife, that can be quite damaging.
Do you punch here?
Oh man. It's so difficult, right? Because if you don't punch, it makes it so much harder to escape, right? Because one fang, when you're mesmerized, you're dead. I think Strider knows that and is going to try to play counterintuitively. The mesmerize is the obvious move. I think Strider's going to is gonna not play it.
Flaws here. Oh, no, there it
Nope,
is.
I'm wrong.
Missed the rifle. Okay.
I think I know Strider so well from all our games, but nope, I do not. Okay, so that's a win for Strider right there, right? He's got the mesmerize. He didn't take any damage, and now Mina has a knife to defend herself with. Um, will she escape? Will she try to play that knife to prevent against Fang? Will Strider think she's going to use a knife and so choose to strength so that she doesn't have that knife for the next night fight?
And then strength is the worst thing to play against escape, which means all of this could be for naught if that happens.
Oh yeah,
I
lots
think
away.
he fangs, I think is the right move because worst case you take 3 damage and you still or you take 2 damage and you still have potentially another fangs in the claw or in the queue.
Yeah, I think
And I
you're
think
right.
Nina should play knife, probably expecting a fangs here. Of course, who knows what Drac has? One of the interesting components to this game, both for better and for worse for Dracula, is you don't always have the cards you want, but that also means sometimes the hunters assume you may or may not have cards that you want as well.
Plotting and escape.
Plotting into escape. Oof, that's bad for Strider.
Yep. So that's a
Maybe he
win for
didn't have a
Terminus.
fangs.
The other thing too about this position is that two claws could kill Mina as well. Okay.
And here's the reckless too. Yikes,
Terminus says
yikes.
few, and I agree. Heroic leap. Okay. So that
What a move.
explains to me a little bit of how Terminus might have been why Terminus might have been dwelling a little bit on the choice of whether to go to Lisbon or not, because he had that heroic leap in his pocket, and it explains his move to Santander a little bit. Because if you use that heroic leap in the dawn combat, and then other hunters can get to your space, that would be a very bad position for Drac.
It's also worth pointing out that the younger or the lady vampire is on the hide card, which means it's not at risk of maturing here.
Exactly. So now this trail, there's something in Saragossa, but Terminus doesn't have to worry about this Cadi's rumor token. So Strider is just
Misdirected Madrid.
misdirected, which is almost certainly Madrid. Well, it is Madrid. So I assume he has gone back to Madrid. Um, could be a ruse. Could have just gone Granada last turn and gone to Alicante this turn. But I think with that play, you have to assume Dracula is now in Madrid. And if that's so, there
Well,
is potential for 200s to get on him with a chartered carriage and rail move or renewed vigor, or yeah, other way, or not actually seeing RV, but still.
question on the double vampire mature there. Does the hunter player know which hunter or which vampire was under the city and which was under hide?
Does the hunter player? Yes. It used to be awful before the immortal update, but now because you can kind of toggle, I think it flips it and reveals it so you can see what card is being flipped under hide. But you can also like
Oh, I see.
toggle
Yep,
right during the combat and look, okay, which on the trail on the top, which of them has a card revealed, and you can see, oh, hide.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yep, yep.
So the immortal update that came in, I don't know, was it almost a year ago, has added a lot of quality of life improvements. It used to be nigh impossible, not only to know in that situation where you're being ambushed, but also like when you're searching, you would just see two vampires show up and you didn't know which one was which, and you had to know, I think, that the left one was always the hide one and the right one was the location one, and it was a
Got
huge
it.
mess. Okay. Zaragoza is a spy, so good to have that trigger on Seward, probably, given that he's probably holding multiple weapons. Okay, he discards a gun, not too bad. So this trail, Jack's in a tough position here, right? Because he's going to want to get going because he could have 300s on him, albeit one of them being a weakened Mina. Um, Strider can, on his next move, either go to his lair or I guess go to his other lair.
He he could also walk back to where Mina is if she just stays put in heels too.
Yeah. So he could find himself on the receiving end of a 3v1 combat here very soon. In fact, he probably has to expect it. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this ends up working out. So much of this is going to be based on whether it's going to be based on how well equipped these new hunters are.
Yep, yep.
The thing is, we know Mina is well equipped in terms of her weapons, but a 3 health Mina is just so close to death. Then again, if it is a 3v1, if he's killing Mina and she dodges the first one, you can deal a lot of damage while we're waiting for while the dodge is happening.
I would almost trade a Mina kill for a 2v1 on Drac here too. I mean, if he wanted to do that in theory, it would be he'd probably be in rough shape, especially if Mina got some damage off ahead of time.
And if he focuses on Mina and he does attack while Mina dodges, and then the next turn she has a rifle and a knife, so Terminus could guess right whether Drac is trying to kill her using a um, fang or a claw, right? And so can adequately defend against either 50-50 guess, basically.
She also supplied, correct, during the day, so she could have drawn Holy Circle or Garlic and just do a Garlic dodge combo over and over again, which wouldn't be a whole lot of fun to deal with either.
I think she was delayed during the day this turn.
Oh, she
Like she
was
just
delayed.
healed
Yeah,
at
you're
night,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to have Lairs in Santander and in Lisbon and now in Cadiz. He's going to go to one of them. Unless he feeds or something. Actually, not feed, because he's full health. Hmm.
No Dark Call event opportunity either for Drac event at least. You could do it for encounter cards, but
If he went to Granada first, he could go to Alicante safely. He could also clear his layers to create some guesswork on the hunter's part as to where he's going. Okay. Nope, he's going to Santander. And there are now 2 cards underneath that layer. Do the hunters want to take this combat? And do they want to do it with 2 hunters or also bring in Mina? Tough questions.
man, what would you do if you were the hunters? I feel like my gut would be to take that combat. I guess it depends if you have forewarn for the fog or not.
Yes, I agree with that. Um, and if there is fog, it's going to be hard for the hunters to. The hunters going to have to backtrack to clear the trail in Alicante and Madrid, or Granada and Madrid, right? So it would slow them down as you try to make your escape. Drac would, if there is fog and it traps Helsing and Seward, then Drac could probably do an escape to the east via land and not have to take sea travel damage. Yeah, Determinator's thinking fog as well. Um, and if it's not fog, it could be something like double mob, which could leave Helsing and Seward in a very precarious place in the combat.
Yeah, agree with all that. Yep.
So you might not want to be aggressive on the hunter's side and just let him go. Or even you might even try to move 100 back to Bordeaux, just that instead of he has to leave, he um, okay. So they're just clearing trail.
Yep.
They're gonna let him leave.
Yep.
Another spy. Okay. Does okay, and Seward loses a knife this time, so he's losing the good weapons. Luckily
And
for
he has horses, correct? So he's probably got horses, Heavenly Host, or something like that.
yeah, right now I bet Seward has a horse and either a stake or a heavenly host. Yeah.
Interesting. Yep.
So in my opinion, that's not too bad for the hunters. They feel like they have time. They're not going to go in for the early fight on Dracula's turf. Okay, they're all moving in together. Mina's going to heal. They're going to take their time with this.
Okay. Yep.
Um, Seward can resupply. That knife is going to get reshuffled into the deck fairly soon. Um, if they all supply to the day this turn, it'll get reshuffled in probably next turn. Well, that is like it'll get reshuffled in Thursday's turn. So
If you're Drac, the only single space move you have available will either be your layer in 31 or a free move to 8. I suppose, has he cleared that layer out yet? He has not. So we'll keep an eye on that.
yes, interesting play. Now, stick research. Okay, well that'll help. Four Drac events discarded, only two Hunter events, so only two safe night supplies for the Hunters here out of that.
This is one of the reasons why Spain can be less attractive than the East for an aggressive Drac, is you can, in the East, there aren't as many cities that hunters can sort of gather on that are centrally located and supply. In Spain, they can hop in Madrid and then safely supply while Drac runs circles around them. But in the East, most of the cities are smaller, so if they do supply, they're only getting events. So they're, things like spies are more meaningful that are discarding items permanently.
Yeah, great point. Interesting. Drac Dark Calls. Probably worried that if he moves to Bordeaux, he could get 3v1 to not have the protection of whatever's in Santander. Santander. But Drac did not get an item card from that, so he took 2 damage. He drew 5 encounters. He did not get a Drac event.
That seems so risky because you just have to assume one of those two events is fog, and if that gets forewarned, that's a much less scary location for three hunters to wander into.
Determinator asks, can you use hide on a lair? Yes. Yes, you can. So, well, I mean, I guess depends on how you look at it, right? If you move to a lair, um, the lair becomes your hideout and it's on the trail. So I guess at that point, it is no longer a lair. So I guess actually the answer is no. But you can move into a lair, and then it moves out of one of these 3 lair spaces and onto the trail. And then once it's on the trail, then you can use hide to stay there. So I guess
And
tech
then that hide card also triggers when they walk on to Santander, right?
correct. The only thing is that if the lair is revealed, or if the space is revealed for any reason, when you hide, you can't put an extra encounter under it. So if Dracula uses hide now, because Santander is revealed, if Dracula uses hide, he would not put an encounter under it. Um,
I
if
see. Yep,
if
yep.
you move back to a lair that hadn't been revealed by the hunters yet, like if Bordeaux happened to be a lair, and you hid there, you could have something under the hide, basically. Yep. So I wonder what I
It seems like Drac is aching for a fight, and it seems like the wrong place maybe to be doing that in.
yeah, that makes me think that this is 2 damaging encounters. Um, or 1 damaging thing in a fog. But because if it's 2 damaging encounters, even in 3v1, you can do some serious damage or kill some hunters, as you probably know. Pizza Wizard is here in the chat saying, "Go Strider, cheering on his teammate." Uh, congrats on being top of the table for the week, Pizza Wizard. Congrats to you and Strider. As a result, Strider's acknowledged the fact that kind of all of us are rooting against you, but it is not personal at all, and we'll see how it goes. Um, yeah, Terminus is his team is currently in 4th place. But yeah, they're having a little staring contest right now because Drac doesn't want to move off these two encounters, but the hunters don't want to jump on him. Well, hadn't wanted to jump on him, haven't wanted to go do other things, so it's interesting.
Mina is now functionally back to full strength after her adventure with the other two vampires and her heroic leap. Um, and while Drac could, in theory, sit here and feed, I suppose Godalming's only getting closer and closer, which also doesn't feel very good if you're Drac.
Absolutely. Strider has to be thinking that he wants to either kill a hunter on this layer or move away via land to be more efficient. Um, but as Godami moves in closer and the hunters in Madrid heal, his situation is getting increasingly perilous. So he might say, "What's he gonna do?" He has wolf formed. Okay. Oh, Pizza Wizard said heroic leap has been used. Yes, it was used to kill a vamp in Cadiz. So, to give you a very brief rundown, Pizza Wizard, Strider started in Santander and looped around Mina, but all of the location revealing cards kind of came out quickly, and his trail was revealed very soon. He walked onto Mina in Madrid, hoping to kind of get her to move to Lisbon, his first encounter space, where there was a bats. Later, after the combat and after he had moved, she did and she got batted onto double vamp in Cadiz, but she managed to escape the hide vamp ambush and then use the heroic leap on the reckless that was in the city space, basically clearing the rumored vamp. So
Couple
anyway,
of comments here. So with the wolf form, he did not clear out Saragossa, Lisbon, or Cadiz from his layers. So we know he didn't wolf form to any of those locations. So he also didn't, let's see, I guess he could have gone to 26 or 1, whichever one of those is empty. Or he is off to France or maybe Barcelona at that point.
could be Barcelona would be tricky, but maybe wouldn't get you that much. I feel like the guess would probably be Nantes or Clermont-Ferrand. Harder to follow along via rail, get you moving east where there's more options, but Peach Wizard says
This
I could
is
see him in Calicante. Could be. That would be very sneaky because we assume that he already went to Alicante, but it's very possible he did go to Granada and not Alicante. Okay.
Teeth fight with a reckless, so probably a dodge next, assuming Seward's holding on to a stake at this point.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet given the resupplying and that Stewart discarded two weapons to spies and then had to resupply. A stake is seems fairly likely. I am interested in what the other card other than Reckless is though.
No, no plotting, huh?
Okay. He
Interesting.
expected
Okay.
the plot.
Yep.
Here's the tricky thing. If you punch in these circumstances, if you just escape and dodge over and over, you can guarantee that you leave with no more than 4 damage. And if there's a second vamp, you can guarantee you leave with no more than 4 damage on that vamp, right? But
Yep.
if you start punching, there's a possibility that Stewart could die if these are two vampire combats.
Two vamps back to back. Yep.
Be a pizza, it would be a very sneakish Strider move to have gone Granada, then Madrid, then Saragossa, Dark Hall, and then Wolf to Alicante. Um, Especially because you needed to misdirect Madrid to go there. And I don't think he would have known that Mina would move off. He probably would have guessed that she would move off, but he probably didn't know that she would move off when he moved to Alicante or Granada. So it'd be very, very. There'd be a lot of
This
foresight in
feels
that play
like
if that is what it
Fang's
was.
escape.
Thanks. But you called it
Escape. Yep.
exactly right. I want to call that a win for Dracula. He gets the point. He does 4 damage. That's probably the max you can expect a vampire to reasonably do in an ambush. Um,
Agreed. Yeah.
yeah. And what's the next one?
And it's got to be a second vampire here, right?
It is double reckless.
It
So
is.
we have now
Yeah.
seen, I believe there are only 3 recklesses in the deck, so we are now seeing all 3 recklesses.
So now we have Seward in a situation where if he just escape dodges, then he'll end up 4 damage potentially and 1 point given up, but at least not a dead Seward, which seems like a win.
Yeah. So he's thinking about using event, maybe an escape route to make sure he doesn't die or lose 4 damage to be at 1. Or he's thinking maybe of a planned ambush, hopefully to kill it without using a stake. He does now need to kill 2 reckless vampires to prevent this rumor token from giving Drax 7 points. Looks like nothing was used. So I have to imagine the Terminus is going to play this safe and just escape dodge, right? Surely that's the play here to
Yeah,
make sure
that
that you
seems
don't,
yeah.
even if you have a great strength, you don't want to use it in a random reckless fight. Fang,
I'll be back in 1 sec.
punch. Oh no, oh no.
This is the risk. Yep, big risk.
Oh, so if Strider has the cards, he could kill Seward in this combat if assuming no great strength. On the flip side, there is a chance that Seward has a knife and he times it just right and is able to kill this reckless. We'll see. Terminus has a card in. Strider's still thinking about it. Claw. Into a heavenly host. Okay. So that's 1 vampire down. The other can be killed by a stake if Terminus has it. Seward's alive. It's a very costly fight, but someone had to do it. And if Seward has a stake, he may very well think that was worth it. Probably is. Pizza Wizard said Seward really wants a kill, and he got it. So I guess the thing about that play was that Terminus knew that the worst case scenario was he gets a Fang into that heavenly host, and at least Seward doesn't die. So I think I like that reasoning. He was unlikely to have 2 stakes. Yeah, I agree with that. Only 1 stake is in the discard so far, last I checked. But I doubt that Seward had 2. And the other nice thing for Terminus is even though he has lost a knife and he has now lost a heavenly host, the item deck is about to reshuffle. So he can draw those again. I guess the other nice thing is that 1 more supply, and he's guaranteed to have 3 horses on hunters that are all relatively close to one another. He can trade horses if they need to do that. Okay, it was Alicante, which means unless Strider wolfed from Santander to Granada, he is in Gallia somewhere, probably in Clermont-Ferrand, maybe in Nantes. Stake, okay. Be some healing soon, I would guess. Helsing. Fairly good amount of supplying for this time of the game. You don't need luck. Um, Switching out some tickets. In this situation, you almost wonder if that switch was to improve horse economy or to get a 3-2 to hopefully get Helsing into the Drac fighting action. Bodyguards, okay. She's got a gun, so show the gun. Oh, shows the
John made it
knife.
out with
I mean, I
John made it
guess,
out with 1 health, huh?
yes, he heavily hosted the one reckless and staked the other. And Mina just tried to stake whatever's in Alicante, and it was a bodyguard. So she revealed
Gotcha.
the knife and still has a stake. So there's now one stake on Mina, two stakes in the discard, one stake on somebody else. Um, and Dracula is almost certainly moving east somehow. He may be under a fog in Barcelona. He may be in Clermont-Ferrand or not. My guess would be one of those latter two, but we'll see.
What if he's just in 26?
Possible. That would be kind of wacky. But if he was, he could go to Lair and have all the hunters moving out the other way, and it would be kind of wild.
I think you can definitely sort of see Strider's vision here. I'm sure he was hoping for more layers that were not discovered early on, so he could have, plopped some extras back there, but definitely sort of see what his philosophy here was with this setup.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think he was hoping to get some damage and kill a hunter, get some fights with better timing, but Terminus has really taken this, you know, done this methodically, taken this slow, and cleared the trail and not got himself killed. And now, as he's healing up, he's going to be in a good position to take on Dracula without much trail other than the wolf, without any trail other than the wolf form location.
Yeah, I sort of agree with Pizza Wizard here. Why feed here if let's say in theory, you moved to 39 with a wolf form or to 15 and then could move to 24? Like, why would you spend the time? And Mina looks like she's going to be checking 26 through her psychic bond here.
Yeah, 26 and 4.
Yeah,
So if
very
this is
smart.
a wolf form to a feed being on a port under a fog, the hunter's going to find it out right now. So we'll see a heal here.
That also gives Seward a good ability to heal.
Don't know what Helsing will do.
It's worth noting Cadiz has a rumor token on it already. So in theory, if he was in Granada, he could move to 12 and then put a vampire on it, and it would benefit from having a rumor token on it. I don't think functional point at this point, just because the rest of the trail's cleared, but something in theory to think about.
Yeah, we've already seen 4 of the 6 fighting vamps. So actually, I don't know why I don't see the new vamp hunter here yet, unless it's the card that's face down for some reason.
Good point. Yep. Wonder why that would be. It should be in there, shouldn't it?
I think so because it was revealed in the when the hide card was revealed, but
It was on the hide card, right? Maybe that's a bug with the hide card hides the card when it goes into the trash. Or
yeah,
did he layer it? Maybe he layered it? No.
it has to be in the trash because he wouldn't go back to his hand.
Yeah, that's true.
So I
Yep.
don't know.
Correct.
Pizza Wizard asks if we've seen a fog yet, and the answer is no. There have been times we thought that a thing might be a fog, but Strider's consistently played vampires and some damaging events. He was really picking for a fight early on, and he didn't get it other than a brief nothing burger dawn combat with Mina. So he
Wait
does
a minute.
still.
Are Mina and Helsing trading instead of Psychic Bond? I didn't expect that.
Yeah, me neither. Because any trade you do could have been done with housing, right? I don't know.
In
I don't know what
theory,
that's
well,
about.
item trade maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess we'll see if he's in 26 now either way.
Yeah. Um, updated his layers. Could use it, yeah. Um, but we won't know necessarily. Well, I guess even in that circumstance, he could hide in 26.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's nonce too, but Geo. Um, but it would have been nice to have a scan just to rule out Barcelona. And I mean, Granada is kind of we're talking about it because it would be interesting, but it is kind of secondary.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, nonce would be fairly safe. It's a sensible place for him to go. Now, what does Godalming do? A horse. Okay, he can check not. He's bulky. Uh, Interesting. I guess he doesn't want to land on Drac.
Maybe just out. I don't know. Maybe Tricky Wolf formed 8.
Yeah, looks like a trade.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe we
maybe
got
he
a
has
trade
double
coming up now.
horses.
Double horses. Yeah, possible.
Layer check, sure. Cadiz, Saragossa, Alicante. So I guess he got rid of Lisbon and put on Saragossa. Well, since Mina's
All
not
right.
moving, she has another opportunity to psychic bond if she wants, just to rule out Barcelona and technically Grenada. This would also be a good time for wax cylinders if you have it, because hiding
Yeah,
on a port would
absolutely.
be reasonable here. And then,
Sword back up to fighting for him a little bit now.
yep, and the feed brought Drac to full health. So these both sides are kind of getting back up into fighting form, as you said. Okay, Helsing ticket. Okay, all right. Let me see the scan. It would also make sense for me to heal, but I'd like to see the scan.
Yeah, for sure.
As a spectator, I want to see the scan. Okay, I'm not gonna
Oof.
get it. Well, to Geo and Pizza Wizard, to Terminator, everyone in the chat, I hope you all had a good week and are ready for another one. Nice to be able to relax together with a little Fury before things pick up again.
Thanks for having me as co-host too. This is fun times.
Yeah. Well, I knew Pizza Wizard would be watching, so I wanted to make sure you were here, given how close you guys are.
This nothing quite like watching a game with Pizza Wizard with you, Chris. It brings back some of my happiest moments as a little wombat. I earlier today I had a game with Terminus where I played a hyper aggressive dragon out east also.
Oh,
Many layers, many cards. So he should be this hopefully that got his mind right for I
yeah.
suspect might have some of why he's taking things slowly here and not over moving into
You
layers or
prepped
anything.
him. Very nice. So he'll give a little bit of the credit to you if this all works out.
I
Knock on
hope
wood.
not.
Knock on wood. It still hurts. I'm sorry. I'm way too shady.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm glad you did.
Yep. Anyone watching, if you want a great watch, Pizza Wizard's pre-tournament game from this this season, I guess. His game between himself and you, CombatWombat, was exceedingly entertaining. And one last tie into this game, my favorite part of that video is when Pizza Wizard says, "Why is Strider here?" when Strider hops in the chat. I laughed at that for so long. I don't know why. Uh, all right. Back to this game. Drac did not go to Not. So
Wow.
he also did not hide in Barcelona, then go to Toulouse. So I have to guess he went to
15,
Clermont-Ferrand.
right?
Clermont-Ferrand, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just like I think that may be the only option now, right? Saragossa, Madrid, Cadiz. I guess since he cleared Alicante, maybe he technically could have gone Granada, Hyde, Alicante, but realistically, it's 15, then something else.
If I'm Drac, I'm counting the number of turns until my wolf form comes up, and then I'm hoping to land in Madrid and then wolf form right afterwards.
For sure. And if you're hunters, you're hoping to pull off your big move, whether that's renewed vigor, CG, or just using your any movement card you have to get a combat with them before that wolf goes off the what do you call the top thing again? The hideout
The
tracker
trail,
ticker
trail.
trail. Why can't I think of that? I've been playing this game for a year and change. I can't remember the word trail. Ay, ay, ay.
Because Strider's making us all think too much about what he's doing here.
So Dracula is not in Gallia right now, which is really helpful to Terminus. I think that means he went to Clermont-Ferrand, then Geneva, and then hit in Geneva or went to Zurich. I don't think there's any other way
Yep.
that could have worked.
I think that's absolutely right. Yep. And
So
it would make
now,
sense because you could go Geneva, or sorry, you could go Zurich to, Nuremberg and then to Munich and then we'll form something. Or actually, no, you could go Zurich to Munich and then next move will form freeze up. So I think the hunters are likely to make a big move here, would be my guess.
I think so too. If I'm Strider, I think Munich is the obvious play. Hiding in Zurich also wouldn't be too bad, because then you give yourself a little protection and it's a great wolf form location. Um, I guess it's going to be the next turn. It's going to come off. So his next move, he
You're
won't have
right.
wolf
You're
form,
right. Yep.
the wolf
Yep.
after. So I might, if I'm not going to have wolf form back, I might think I might roll the dice and go back to Marseille here. It's risky, but I think that if the hunters now have horses in the right place, they're either going to clear trail or start making a beeline for Munich. I might feel tempted to go Marseille, but the more standard move would probably be to do what, Nuremberg at this point if you're in Zurich, just to create distance.
Yeah, I feel like Nuremberg is a smart connector there too.
Yeah, that's probably the safest play. Okay, no renewed vigor.
Moves.
It was Clermont-Ferrand, so Terminus continues to clear trail, be at a methodical pace here. We have about we have one more week until Fury mode starts. Okay. If you want to clear trail, you go to Geneva. If you don't, Strasbourg. Okay. Geneva. I think this suggests that maybe Terminus doesn't have any of the true power cards, like he doesn't have the CG or the RV, because if you did, you might play it and try to get a fight in the right way. Since he just seems to be clearing trail, it suggests he wants to keep supplying with Helsing, you know, and and take the fight a little later.
You did consider your Marseille move there too. Yep.
And honestly, it's a thing that I might try and a thing that Strider might try. think that's a like we play each other a lot kind of move. The nice thing for Terminus is that we know there's only two fighting vamps left, so a lot of these are likely to be other things, more
Yep.
trash events, delaying things, or maybe in this case, like we saw a mob, maybe more damaging things. Okay, hoax. In this situation, I'm almost not that mad to use a stake and a hoax because there's only two fighting vamps left, and because you want to keep moving and try to double up on Drac as soon as you can. So it's actually not too bad.
If Strider is in 38 currently and moves to 58 or 59, I don't think there's a way without renewed vigor where they can reveal him before he gets the wolf form off. He can wolf form from 59 to any number of places too out east, and that'll be a pain to try to track down.
Yeah, the hunters would need like two sense of emergencies to get double up hunters in 59 right now.
And possibly has it. I mean, we've got about 9 or 10 Drat cards on the item deck, 2,500 cards, give or take, remaining.
Yeah,
Decent chance he's got at least something useful here.
right. And if Dracula is going east, I mean, Mina has a charge of carriage to get close to that area. Obviously, couldn't get to 59 by itself, but okay. Waiting on Dawn actions. Does he have something here? No. Okay.
Nothing.
So it seems likely that Drake is going to get that wolf form back.
And as you pointed out in the beginning of the game, a lot of the hired scouts and newspapers and whatnot have already been used, so it'll be tough to rely on a search card to reveal both. I think there's 2 newspapers in the trash and both hired scouts.
Yeah. Oh, and I don't think I've brought this up for the people who came on more recently. Rufus is in play. So that might
Right.
dissuade sea movement a little bit, but also doesn't really help if we get a combat. So there wasn't any other allies. Okay, well, good ambush. Since Seward already burned a Heavenly Host, it's unlikely he has another one, but possible. I like the ambush on Strider's part. And oh, he's got it. Okay, it's a
Okay.
win.
Yep.
Small win for Terminus. A little bit more efficient on his part. He can now heal with Seward.
You think Goleming should not search Zurich in this situation to not risk getting delayed in the morning?
No, I would search it unless, unless Mina, mm, unless you have CG and you think you can use it effectively here. But I mean, with the wolf form, I don't think you can. Yeah, I would search it. Unfortunately for the hunters, they haven't had the events needed to really corner Dracula, and now he's gonna get that wolf form coming. He's gonna move. He's gonna be able to move. So if there's a hypnosis, this is a place where hypnosis could be really useful. Because you have Drac in the middle of the map, he's about to wolf form. You know, he needs to kill some time in this week 3. This is the time where hypnosis just showing his wolf form direction can be really powerful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
If I were Terminus, I might have even thought about like having Mina meet up with Seward, for instance, so that she can hypnosis or at least regular scan next turn after the presumed wolf, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Do you spend time figuring out where he wolfed from? Like, for example, he could be in 37, 57. It's likely he's in 58 or 59, I would assume. I would think
Yeah,
59.
especially since he went to Munich, right? If he wanted to go to Nuremberg, he could have done it the turn before. So 58, 59, especially 59, seems especially plausible. Determinators, the Dracula deck is about to reset, which is true. Um, we know Dracula has both fogs. If Strider's like me, he might have thought about playing the fog in like Venice right now, just to get some use out of it before it reshuffles. But I don't know that that many other people other than me favor that. So I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of things Drac can do here, and he's given it some thought because this move right here is gonna really, set the stage for the rest of the game. And he doesn't wolf. Okay, I can respect that, right?
Interesting. Okay. Yep.
He knows Godalming is delayed, so he's not gonna get 3v1 this turn no matter what happens. So, give the hunters one more thing to check. I like it.
Now, if your hunter's here, what are you doing? Are you sending Seward to 49? Are you sending Seward to 53? Are you staying in place and supplying?
Looks like he's supplying. Maybe hoping for
Yeah.
an evil presence or local rumors or just better events. I guess the thing is, the moment you draw Renewed Vigor, Drak's not going to know you drew it then, so if Drak doesn't use the wolf form, you might get him quickly, but he's not expecting it. Mina thinking about checking something? Okay.
Gotta go to where Seward is, right? For a scan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks like it.
Okay.
I
Is
mean,
there any move where he's in France now? I don't. Strasbourg's not in France, right?
it is.
Oh, it is
So
in
he could
France.
he could have gone Nuremberg to Strasbourg, which would be a good wolf spot. Um, so that's the tough thing about scans in this region. I mean, he could be in any one of four regions. All right, we got a trade. Okay. Oh, the good luck in the discard explains why Strider said you don't need the luck earlier. Mm, one stake gone. Oh, I just noticed there was a lucky find discard. So someone has a powerful hand of events. I should have been paying more attention to who discarded that.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Okay. There was an event trade, but it did not. Okay. Not in Germania. So we went east, south, or it's in Strasbourg.
I wonder if you use Godalming to sort of check the back of the trail and then move Seward and Mina together and just continue to sort of move and scan. Maybe you go to 58 and you scan Vienna, um, and then or 11 and scan Austria-Hungary and then head to Baltica. I don't know.
See, if it's me, if I had renewed vigor, sense of emergency, Speed Telegraph, I think about playing them together so you can check more efficiently. But it just really seems like he either doesn't have the good event cards or has been very reluctant to use them. So in that case, I'm okay.
Okay, well,
Zagreb.
this makes sense. Yeah.
So I guess that approach he's assuming that going to the east is most likely. So you may as well have Godalming, who moves first, check Zagreb and determine whether the others should move in that direction or not. Makes sense. Seward.
Seward do 11 probably.
Probably go 49 or 53, but
Oh, 49 would make more sense. Yeah, 49 makes more sense for sure. Or 53. Okay.
Strider sometimes likes doing funky, moves to Prague and stuff that are unexpected, but at this stage in the game, I have to imagine he doesn't want to risk it, given the hunters supplying. Pizza says that Dracula will not win a foot race. The next few days are crucial. He needs to maintain obscurity. Yeah, I get it. I just think that, you know, Drac knows the hunters could have drawn CG, and when CG is in this bottleneck, it's just so powerful. I
You mean
think
at a
if
49 maybe?
probably. I mean, Budapest Klausenberg wouldn't be bad for Drac, but oh, okay, he's gonna do a scan.
Right.
So this will
As in, he would 100, like even if he could be in 44 potentially, but I don't think he could be back in Germania right now.
correct. So this will tell you if he went southeast and is in Valona or Sofia, or whether he went like some other path, like Klausenberg or a weird move to Prague.
You're
It,
not in a night supply situation at this point, I'm assuming. Is that right?
I would say no. Um,
He's likely in 55. Seems to make the most sense.
I would agree with that. Because if you're in 55 and you have all these hunters coming at you, you can slip back in to southern Italy, and then you can go from southern Italy to Cagliari or something else. You can milk the clock very effectively from there. Okay,
Oh,
he's in
all
Austria-Hungary.
right. Well, there you
So
go.
now if I'm Strider, if I did do that, I mean, that means it's most likely in Klausenberg, maybe in Prague, maybe in Vienna, although that would be quite risky. Probably Klausenberg. This is a time where maybe you think about using that wolf form. Hmm.
He could, if he's in Prague, a misdirect now on wherever that, Budapest, I'm assuming, might be useful too. And then you will form out of Prague, maybe obfuscate a little bit. Or maybe we just don't will form ever again and we just keep walking nice and slow here.
Yeah, I think I think Terminus' strategy of using Godalming to check the next most likely location might be useful here. Like if Godalming checks Klausenberg, then the other ones could check Bucharest, Belgrade. I don't know. Or maybe oh, okay, horses.
Just a couple more days till Fury starts kicking in here.
Yeah,
At the
yep.
moment, he's got 1-2-1, 1-2-2, 1-2-3, 1-2. He's got to make 4 successful moves.
Interesting. So I guess it could have been Zagreb, Sarajevo, Belgrade. So Terminus was trying to deal with that possibility. Oh, it
Oh,
was the move, the
yes.
backtrack to Prague.
See, that's where
Strider
the
loves that shit.
misdirect might have given it away, though. Yep.
Okay,
Very good
well,
deduction there.
I think that's the thing you only do if you played Strider a lot, because he does like those sorts of tricky moves. Um, so now if you have CG, you probably
So
play it
I now
very
do check
soon.
Berlin and Nuremberg. You're probably Nuremberg for a wolf form, although we've said that 20 times so far
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
where it's likely.
Like if you have CG, you can kind of control his movement,
Yeah,
or even kill him if he went to Berlin.
went to Berlin.
But assuming he went to like Nuremberg, there are lots of ways out. Yeah. It's too bad Mina has that chartered carriage and not Godalming.
Yep.
She might be
What do you
tempted to.
think the odds are at this point? Are you 60-40 Drac? Are you 60-40 Hunters?
Well, the thing is, the Hunters are playing like they don't have any power events. If that's the case, you'd much rather be Drac, right? But we just have no way of knowing what the Hunters events are, other than the chartered carriage.
Wondering about a chartered carriage to Berlin here. Maybe you don't want Mina on top of Drac, though, at this point.
Gonna scan again. Okay. I think I like that.
What does the scan here solve for? A hide in Prague? That's the only thing you're scanning for at that point, right?
Well, hide in Prague. We haven't checked Budapest yet, have we? Or have we? I don't
Maybe
think
she's
so.
searching Vienna. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Could
Oh, we
be.
have not. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We haven't checked Budapest. That's true.
We're assuming that this scan will show not Austro-Hungary, in which case he's
Yeah.
either in. Well, then he's in Germania.
Yeah, then he's in
Probably in
Nuremberg,
Nuremberg, maybe in Berlin.
maybe
Uh,
Berlin.
if
Yeah.
it does say Austro-Hungary, then he did some kind of tricky move and he's in Klausenberg, right?
Yeah,
So
possibly. Yep.
we're gonna
Or hide
assume,
in Budapest.
yeah. So we're gonna assume that this is not Austro-Hungary, but if it is, it tells you a lot.
Strider has been playing risky for sure, so it's certainly possible.
Yeah, and the thing is, he kind of has the bandwidth too because he has that wolf. Um,
The wolf form that we keep thinking he's going to use and doesn't.
yeah, there's a lot of it's potential energy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Really interested to see if and when hunters pull some big events. I wonder if he's going to take Mina's charter carriage and give it to Godalming here, on the assumption that this is a move to the west. And if that happens, a speedy telegraph could be helpful to let the trade
Hmm.
to let oh, okay, yeah. So he must have taken charter carriage off. If he uses speedy telegraph next turn, he can trade that to Godalming and have Godalming move one, two, three, four. Oh, I guess that would only get Godalming to Vienna. Oh, I missed what Mina did. Did she not scan?
Mina did not scan.
What did she do? Just pass or
I
trade with Seward?
I didn't see a trade with Seward either. Did
Yeah,
chat see what Mina did?
I
Did
don't
she
know.
just pass? I'm very confused about that.
Oh, I can look. I'm looking at the video on my phone as I talk. I can look back.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Let me see here. So Helsing traded with Mina, and then what?
We also have a layer update. Zurich is layered.
It looks like nothing happened. Like Mina just passed.
Wow. Seems like Psychic Scan would have been a good move there.
Yeah, it wouldn't have hurted you if nothing else. It wouldn't have hurt you.
Also, he just misdirected Munich as well.
Okay. Suppose that makes the Nuremberg move a little bit more likely.
Or maybe that's just what he wants you to think.
Yeah.
Oof, this is gross looking.
If he is in Klausenberg right now, and he did that to, make the hunters think he went Nuremberg, that would be
Yeah.
like very high level play. Because one thing I find is hard is to think about that and think about misdirects that are purely for like paths you didn't take. It's hard to think.
Purely through misdirecting, as it were.
Yeah, like when it's like misdirecting something that's not a thing that you currently could go to, even if you weren't going
Yeah.
to go there, right? Right. Misdirecting if you were in Klausenberg, misdirecting Munich is like, you know, you're
It's
considering pot.
also
Yeah,
also very low stakes because misdirect matures next turn, so you'll get it back for your next move.
true. Okay. Horses. What are you
See if
checking?
he,
Klausenberg, or
I
you can get
mean, he
get
should.
west faster if you go to Zagreb. Okay.
See if Strider snuck away to Klausenberg, then he's gotta feel like that's it. If that's
Yeah, he's gonna feel
if the
great.
move was Vienna, Budapest, Klausenberg, Galatz,
Okay. The sewer check.
he's gotta check
Nuremberg.
now, right?
Check in Berlin. Nope.
And oof, okay. This is potentially getting everybody way out of position here.
Yeah, and if you went to Nuremberg and then to say Munich
I
or
feel like
or
I feel like
Zurich,
we see Mina go into Nuremberger and then a very long pause at that point.
yeah,
He also cleared out. Um, he also preemptively cleared out Zurich as well.
okay, it was
Okay, all right,
Nuremberg,
all right. I guess at least he's not in 22.
and it's reckless from the reshuffle.
Day vampire. Why day fight here? Why not try to night fight Mina here? You're nowhere near maturing this.
I think
Unless he's
that
just trying to get more damage off on her,
a
maybe.
couple things. One, I think there could be another new vamp between Zagreb and Nuremberg, right? That would clear this. Two,
And
he might be assuming that Terminus knows that he needs to kill Drac soon, and so
yeah,
he might be assuming that Terminus is now going to ignore the trail, which I
that's
think is a
true.
fair assumption. So I kind of like the ambush here. Terminus has done several punches that have gone into claws. Not
He
not
had
so
in
lucky.
all games, he had a lot of successful first turn punches against my mesmerizers. I'll take some blame for this, maybe. Only two extra damage though, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, Drax is trying to chip away here with this damage.
Dodge into Mez. Nope,
Plotting.
plotting into dodge.
A
No, no,
knife.
he's
Okay. Well,
like
that'll
let's
do it.
just do it.
Mina's a lean,
Mina don't
mean
take.
vamp fighting machine.
She didn't appreciate the claws. She goes, "Look, I know I'm holding a gun here, but
Yeah,
in my
don't
other
F with Mina.
hand,
Brick hand. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
lots of places to go."
Well, oh wow, that is a bad hand. Okay, so Terminus is clearing the trail, at least for now while it's convenient for him. Um, Surely
because
now.
we know for sure it was Vienna to Prague. So we know Prague is in between Vienna and Nuremberg. And what we don't know is did he go to Leipzig, Frankfurt, Munich, Zurich, or Strasbourg? He did clear Zurich off the map in layers.
Yeah, nice thing for Strider, among other things, is that the hunters are going to presumably have to find the wolf form location, and then if he wolfs, also find the wolf from and the wolf to locations.
Yep. So, for example, he could be in Munich and wolf over back to Budapest in theory. Or he likely just won't use wolf form because every other turn we predicted it.
Also possible. Yep.
Geo
Especially because you know
predicted.
that Godalming is not going to be able to jump on you. He dark
Our call.
calls and it gets an event. Hey, that's the name of the
My
tournament.
God.
Now, what is this
Here we are.
event?
Drac is looking for a fight this game, and nobody's giving it to him.
This long pause makes you think it's something that could be used right now, like a summon storms or a roadblock.
Or a manual, potentially.
Could be.
Probably a summon storms. It always seems to show up at times when you don't need it.
Well, it looks like it's in his hand now, so I guess not a manual.
Not a manual, not wolf, not the great wolf, not the bride of Dracula.
Yeah.
So roadblock or storms seems likely.
Yeah. Devilish power, perhaps. Okay.
So he's one space away from Nuremberg.
And that one space we
Godalming's
know is not
Orient.
Prague. So, if you're Seward, do you go Leipzig or do you go to Frankfurt or
Oh man,
I'm Gio's guessing that he is in Strasbourg, which I think is a fair guess.
I had a Scott sword. Join the chat.
Hey Scott
Good game
Sword,
we've got.
welcome, welcome. How's it going? We had some early aggressive Drac play that ended up not coming to anything. But Dracula's been very effective in delaying Terminus' hunters, as he did a very classic Strider funky move from the middle of the map to the east and then back up through to Prague. So now they're going to try to find something that is one space away from Prague. We're guessing that it's probably Strasbourg or Nuremberg, but it could be Frankfurt, could be Munich.
How
Um,
dire of a situation is this for the hunters with Monday coming up tomorrow?
you know, the hunters are so well supplied that you feel like they should have this, right? They're so close to him, and I just throughout this game I've been wondering why haven't we seen renewed vigor yet? Why haven't we seen CG? There have been those positions where you could kind of control Drax's movements or jump on him, and we just haven't had that come up yet, which makes me worry that maybe he doesn't have any of the true power cards. And if you're working without renewed vigor or without CG, I don't know. It's tough, right? Because
Because at some point, so I play a lot of Star Wars Rebellion. That's what I stream mostly. And as playing the Empire, which is a very similar position to the Hunters, at some point the game gets to a critical mass where you no longer have the advantage and the Rebels have the advantage. So you have to sort of turn off the I'm going to make the most optimum move here, and you have to sort of be able to assess the situation and say I will lose the game if the rebels are in these three spots, but I can still win if they're in one of these two. So at some point you have to turn off the desire to do the most optimum play, and you have to turn on the I will concede the game if you're here, but if you're here I can still win button. That's one of the key pieces I haven't quite identified in this game yet, is when are you at critical mass? It seems like probably not quite yet, but also probably getting there, and I guess a lot of it has to do with the event cards like you were saying.
absolutely. Scotcher says, I bet he didn't get Emmanuel twice. Hashtag still salty. Nope. In
There's a
fact,
lot of salting going on here.
Scotswood, in fact, there was a dark call to get rid of a card that was not that to toss a hunter event that did not draw him a drac card because he wanted to be jumped on in a particular position and Terminus didn't take the bait. And then we very recently, in one of these spaces adjacent to Nuremberg, saw a dark call that did draw a drac event. So we don't know what that is. There was a long pause when you draw, which made me guess maybe it was one of those that gives you the choice of doing an immediate um, action like a roadblock or summon storms, but it may not be. So could be anything. So now Strax's turn again. I guess we didn't. So it looks like Mina didn't move. I wasn't paying attention. Mina has a surprising return, but she has nothing to return because there's only been one ally. So if Dracula has devilish power, he's definitely not going to get rid of Rufus. Rufus can stay there for all he cares. Hey Roscoe, welcome, welcome. Strider's played sneakily, Terminus has played patiently. We're almost in Fury mode. So we really got to see something happen here from the hunters. And Dracula, if he gets in trouble, does have his wolf form. Hunters are well supplied, but maybe don't have the power events. We'll see.
Oh boy.
He's still trying to clear the trail. I mean, I get it, right?
Okay.
That could be a vamp, which could save you a day.
Save you a day. Yep. One move for Godalming in exchange for 3 moves with your other hunters.
I have to think if it were me, I'd rather check one of the spaces that, you know, he could have gone to, like Zurich, and just let that mature.
Big decision for Seward here.
Not Munich. So he went to Zurich, to Strasbourg, or to Frankfurt. Have the Hunters played overcautious, would you say? I think they've been appropriately cautious until maybe this last phase. Um, but I really, really want to know what their events are. Because my hunch is that they maybe haven't drawn the power events. Okay, it was Strasbourg. Point for Geo for guessing that. I think Geo was the one who guessed it's Strasbourg. Yeah.
Yep.
Another Reckless. Okay. I almost wonder if Drac did that Dark Hole in part to throw more Vamps down.
No, the dark call. Oh, because he drew them and then maybe ran out when he dark called. Both of these vamps were before the dark call happened.
Because he used all Reckless Vamps before the first reshuffle, and now seems to be
Yep.
playing them again.
Yeah, this is our 5th reckless vamp, I believe.
Yes, it is. It is.
Oh man, Nimina is not messing
Okay.
around this game.
What did I say last time? She is a lean, mean vamp killing machine. Let's go.
God, maybe she punches here.
Yeah. Does Drac have double claw? If not, I don't know. Strength? Strength, okay.
Strength into punch.
Into
Yep,
punch,
that is
alright.
smart and best rider there.
So now what does Drac do? He probably mesmerizes here, because you're not going to
If
hit with
he's
a
got it.
punch. If he has it, yeah. You can stop an escape or stop a weapon.
Yeah, I feel like you probably knife again here, is Mina. I
DC
don't
could
feel
be to
super
remove.
confident about that, but we'll see.
Another mez, alright. Knife, okay.
Mm.
Hmm,
Now you got another strength into another punch, probably.
probably. Does Drac have the other strength? I don't know.
Or Fangs would save him too from a punch.
Maybe a dodge? Or escape? Plotting. Ooh.
Plotting into punch.
Ooh, plotting
No,
into
into dodge.
dodge. Oh no.
Oh,
Well,
spicy.
plotting into dodge. So I'm guessing he's
So
going to
now
take
you
the other
actually
strength.
just now it's got to be knife into strength probably. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
mean
anything else is going to be canceled.
she has two weapons, right? So she can play both weapons, and he can only strength one. You got to hope that he doesn't have. Well, I mean he can strength and then escape as mist or something.
I don't think a Fang's point helps him here necessarily, so he's
No.
probably just going for damage. So I think he probably grabs a strength. I probably play the other weapon card here and then play knife for Fangs.
Yeah, I would expect to see strength and then escape as mist probably. Okay,
Well, what do we know?
that's fine. Yep. What do we know? We've been wrong about a whole lot of things. Roscoe says Crucifix is underrated, especially against Reckless Vamps. I completely agree with that.
Yeah,
But at this
agreed.
point, Terminus does need to get to killing Dracula, so he probably does not want to have any Crucifixes. Um, in fact, both are in the discard anyway.
Two crucifix total or
Fangs.
three in the deck and a knife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, he got it. All right, Vamp down with minimal damage to Mina. That's another Vamp killing
Mina don't
win
stake.
to Terminus. She's a stake personified. Strider says he just
Strider
wanted a
trying to
point.
justify his decisions here.
Yeah, one, two, three, four. Yeah, three Fury. That point really doesn't change anything. Same number of. Oh, Night Fight with LG. That really does explain the reckless ambushes, right? Because he's gonna be thinking that he's
Yep.
probably gonna get a mature here anyway.
Yep. 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 Okay, so you got
Oh, I don't
Vienna.
like this. You're probably not gonna kill this vamp even with the planned ambush. I don't like this at all. You're night fighting, right? The most.
Unless he's trying to. Oh, yeah, because he doesn't have a stake, right? Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I guess you could be trying to escape more effectively. That would make
Yeah,
sense.
he's probably trying to get a host off on her, I would imagine.
Okay, Fang.
So probably knife into plotting. No, into
I
fangs.
think you
Yeah.
escape, right? Let it mature. I know you're on a ticking ticker here, but I mean, you could take so much damage. You could have weapons broken. Okay, there you go. I like that.
So you give him the 3 points. Three more from Fury. Next move. You're very much on a timer here.
Yeah,
You've got Long Night, Mina's holding on to. You have to assume some of these other cards are good that the hunters are holding on to.
yeah. I'm guessing that they have maybe some movement events, maybe some combat events, just not. Oh, I like the random pin in Bucharest. What do you call those?
Yeah,
The little
yep.
hunter pins or whatever they are. It's funny. You don't see those too often. So Dracula from Strasbourg, you have to assume is probably Geneva or Paris. He can make a single move to a port and be in a pretty good spot. Um, so we had 8 influence, new vamp matures. Although a wolf form from wherever he is could be quite powerful. He's only going to have to make one more move after. He's going to have to make 2 more moves. So he'll move, yeah, this move and then 2 more. One of which could be a hide.
Yeah, Pizza Wizard's got a good point that Vampire Lair is still in lurking as well.
That's true.
So Vampire
Vampler,
Lair would be one extra move.
yeah. Yeah, Vampler could be important. And it is always nice when you have the ability to save a Vampire for this moment so that the Dracula can't really predict it. The Rumor Token doesn't matter, so it could be anything under there. It's just a taunt almost. Um, but yeah, if Helsing has Vampire, it'd be a nice time to play it. Okay, Roadblock. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, there's a card that can remove roadblock, right?
Yeah, but I think they've both been discarded. There are two. I don't know how many good lucks there are, but the card you think of as good luck, and it doesn't fully counter roadblock. It only removes one of the three roadblocks that are
One,
placed.
okay. And there's two in the trash currently.
Yeah, I cannot remember how many good lucks there are in the deck total. You don't need good luck, lol. That's funny. Earlier in the game, Terminus discarded the good lucks, and Strider was like, "You don't need good luck." Now Terminus is going to feel like he did need that good luck.
Possible. Very possible.
Roscoe and Strider both said there are only two good lucks in the deck, so that means that Terminus does not have any good luck to remove
Now,
any
we do think
roadblocks.
Godalming has a chartered carriage, I believe, right? I think we were
Yeah, one
debating
was
on that
traded off
trade
of
earlier.
Mina. Yeah, Housing traded one off of Mina, so that could be anywhere now. I haven't paid attention to Housing's trades since, but given that Godalming was further east than the rest of them, it did seem reasonable to me to trade that to him. So a charter carriage could allow Godalming to check Brussels. It could be helpful. Yeah.
Also go down through Venice into Milan, potentially.
Okay. He is doing a move with charter carriage. My guess is that My guess is that Drac went to Geneva or to Paris, but if he did go to Brussels, this would be very helpful information. Okay, he's going the other way.
That's where I would have
Did
moved.
he? Hmm. Did he only move three, or did
He
I?
could be in,
Okay.
he could be Geneva, Marseille. Yeah, he only moved three spaces there. Yep. He was thinking possibly Zurich to Milan.
Yeah, I guess he's assuming that these roadblocks are meant as a real impediment, because
Yeah,
Drac is somewhere down here, but they may not be.
they may
Um,
not be. Yeah.
if Drac went due west, like if he went to Paris and then Nantes, it doesn't really matter if Seward goes southwest first or northwest first. Oh, bug, I need to quit. Ugh. Okay, well, we're going to have to chill for a minute.
Yep,
It's unfortunate.
yep, yep.
We have had a bug-free game so far. What else can we say about this game while we have a little bit of a pause? Oh,
So
an
we're
excellent weather was
predicting
discarded. Two
we're
excellent weathers were
predicting two
discarded.
moves to win. Maybe three if there's a vampire layer hidden on somebody here. Do you start moving Helsing at this point, or are you still digging? I guess it depends again on what cards we're holding, but
I think at this point you probably have to start moving with them. I mean, or to continue moving with them. Now your time is getting quite low. Hunters
Scott
look a bit
Sword
doomed
saying
here.
Hunter's
Yeah.
looking a bit doomed, yeah. So in the chat, let's go ahead and post we'll say do we have little emojis or whatnot? I guess if you feel like we're looking towards Hunters or Drac and what the odds are. I'm gonna go with like 70-30 Hunters at this point, maybe even bigger. Let me know if you
Hunters to
disagree with
win?
that. Hunters to win, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Or sorry,
pretty.
no, Drac to win, not Hunters to win.
Gotcha.
Drac to win. Although, yeah, that having a renewed vigor can change all this, though. So it's pretty crazy how it comes down to the last turn so often.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. since both excellent weathers are gone, Drac is only going to need to make one more move after this. He could be under double fog and be pretty safe. He could be at a port this turn. Like if he goes to Le Havre this turn, and then he doesn't get landed on, he can just get Hyde or something for the win. And if he does get landed on, he can move to English Channel and then win there. Yeah. Scott just does 90% Drac. Seems right. My feeling is that despite a good amount of supplying, he just doesn't have renewed vigor. And that's been
25
such a
remaining
limitation.
cards in the deck.
Because if you don't have renewed vigor, you really have to land right on him, almost by dumb luck on your
Yeah.
first one, and then have someone else hop on. It's so much harder when you don't have renewed vigor to really trap him.
As
Yeah,
Kane said, knowing Strider has the ability to steal defeat from the jaws of victory.
yeah. Maybe Strider will go to Granada. Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
not Frankfurt.
I was gonna say
No,
maybe you
what?
should have Housing Rail if he has a ticket for it. Maybe he doesn't have a ticket for it, but
Maybe he's holding the ones. Yeah. Rack event on top. You don't like to see that as hunters. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 15, 17, plus the one on top is 18, meaning there's 6 Drac cards in the remaining 23.
well, one thing the hunters know is that okay, it was Paris,
Yep,
so he's
Paris,
either
yep.
in Le Havre or not. Bodyguards, okay.
You have a surprising return, but there's no ally in the discard, right?
Correct. Yep. So that surprising return is useless.
So then that means 2 of the remaining cards are ally cards in there too. Wow.
Yep, that's true. So now,
Okay.
assuming Drac is on the port, he's pretty darn safe, even if there is a renewed vigor. Fixed. We haven't seen any fog all game. We haven't seen any behind the veil all game. So double fog right now would be very sensible. Yeah, very impressive for Strider to do all of this without using his wolf form. Very
Yeah,
impressive.
absolutely. Yep. Yep. A sneaky double back in Austria-Hungary.
Yeah, and it's like that's a thing that I've known Strider to do before, but it's a thing that can get punished and is especially ballsy to do when you know the hunters have been supplying.
Yep.
So, but that's the thing Strider likes to do. He's a gambler. He's a risk taker. He night supplies as hunters. He does these moves to CG nuke zones. No way. What did I miss?
Mina rested. Yeah, I
I don't
almost
know.
feel like we're in night supply area there, hoping to draw something to reveal where he might be next.
Was that a night supply and it gave him a card and now he's got like what? Unearthly Swiftness or something?
Oh no, no, no. That's what he was holding on to. Oh no, yeah, I guess there was. Yeah.
Yeah. I
He
think
moved
I've
to give
drawn like 4 blood transfusion. Poor Terminus. Scott Sword leaves the chat. All right, well, now or never, Terminus. Speedy Telegraph. Okay. Yeah, he clearly has not drawn RV because if he did, he'd play it now. Poor
yeah,
guy.
no consecrated ground either.
I mean, you would see that later, but I mean, it wouldn't
Yeah,
really
that's true.
matter.
Yeah. So
Okay.
where do you go?
I mean, you have to assume a
Amsterdam?
Hyde and Nantes. That's what I would assume. Um, I would assume a hide in Nantes or a hide in Le Havre. My gut says Le Havre, but it could be either. And it's probably the hide or the double fog. Um, so, okay. That's one place he could have been, so good check.
Yep.
Um, charter carriage went where? Godalming or Steward can use charter carriage to check Le Havre. You take a 1v1 and do as much damage as you can, if you can. That's all you can really do here.
Yeah, unless you're holding on to Vampire Lair.
Exactly.
And you have
In which
one more to
case, like, you could use the Vamp Lair and then CG him and force him to C. Seward, okay.
Emergency.
Check not or check Le Havre.
No, you check
Probably
Nantes, I
not.
think.
Especially if Godalming has the charter carriage, check not. Oh, nope.
Oh, nope.
Okay, not that.
Okay.
Does he also have a sense of emergency?
Is he in Toulouse?
Okay.
Oh,
Nope.
tough. Okay.
And
Last but not least, Mina, what you got?
you gotta go to Nantes, right? Yep. And there it is.
Here it is.
It's a fog. Forewarned. Forewarned.
Yep.
And another fog.
Another fog.
Another fog. Yep, we all saw that. Okay. Now the only chance Terminus has to do anything else is, I guess,
If Drac decides to fight for some reason.
yeah, because even if you were to do a CG, he could feed in Nantes and then move the following turn.
You could CG in Nantes and prevent the feed, right?
Well, then he would just move one away because there's
Oh, I
four
see.
cities that are
Yep,
adjacent.
yep,
So
yep.
he'd be fine. That's GG. You have a clean victory, no RV, no CG, nothing. True. The only thing that can be done here is if he wants to feed for IDS, he can do that with essentially with impunity. Although, no, although you can do that with impunity. No, actually, although I guess if he fed here and there was a CG and it went everywhere around Nantes without being in Nantes, he could kind of negate the effect of the feed and force him to C. It'd be kind of a lot of work for not much. It's broken early game. Let's make it official. Yeah. Yeah.
Tough. Good to see a Dracula win. Good to see a Dracula
Yeah,
win.
we have had a disproportionate amount of hunter wins. I would have preferred the Drac win
Have been with Strider.
to not to be with the team that's at the top of the tables right now, but hey, silver linings.
Yep,
The chat seems to be
yep,
saying that
yep.
hunters. Roscoe's saying sometimes hunters rely too much on getting the power cards to win. That's fair. Hunter Terminus did seem very methodical in clearing trail, and he may have deprioritized trail too late in the game, but it's really hard to
Yep.
know that um, in the moment.
17 Drac cards in the discard, one on top, six left, out of 22. So yeah, out of the 16 remaining hunter cards, in there were both renewed vigors, one consecrated ground, and vampire lair too. It looks like probably
Yeah,
two allies. Yeah, lots of decent cards left for sure. But I suppose that trade for that is early. Early scouts did clearly reveal where Drac was. He did have an option to take a Drac fight in 47, even though it was going to be pretty well pretty well defended there, I suppose. But he did elect to let Drac go, and then had to spend the rest of the time chasing him down, which ended up being a little more difficult than I think he was anticipating.
Yeah, you wonder if in hindsight it would have been better to take the fight versus Drac, even though he had, two vamps on that space. My gut instinct is that the answer is no, because you'd be going with Stewart and Helsing and potentially a weakened Mina, and those two could be kind of stumbling into a combat that's okay. We're seeing the CG, so the problem for Terminus is that this doesn't actually do anything playing it now, other than making him feed. So all Terminus is doing is increasing his IDS, because he's going to feed and then move next turn, and he's going to win with 15 IDS rather than 13. And with this move, right, it doesn't. Since he put a thing in not, then he's not even going to have to feed. He's just gonna move regardless. I guess Terminus is just showing that he had the CG. Oh, I just drew this, he says. Okay. That stinks. He just drew the CG. If he had drawn that earlier, I mean, he could have controlled Drax's movements since he knew roughly the direction he was going as soon as he realized that Prague was on there.
Yeah, there's no fight that has to be done with the move when he moves on to Seward's location, correct? Or he could move to 15, I guess. Yeah,
Correct.
that's
But
how.
either way, he would get the
Thought,
points
yeah,
before the dawn combat.
points before the dawn
Yeah.
combat. Yeah, makes sense.
All right. Well, GG, well played.
Again,
All right. Big win for the top of the table. So whoever's playing Pizza Wizard, I guess that would be Vukacek. Give him hell.
that should be a fun one.
All right, I'm going to do my admin duty and plug in these results. This has been a fun one to watch. Um, Thanks to the players for playing. Thanks to Strider, to Geo, to Roscoe, to Determinator, to Pizza Wizard. I don't know I think that's everybody. Thanks to all of you for chiming in the chat. It's been fun having all you guys. Uh, CombatWombat, thanks for streaming with me.
Thanks for
Any
having
final
me.
words?
No, I look forward to playing the rest of you in the tournament here that I haven't played yet, and may the best Wombat win.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The best Wombat, or for my part, the best Snuffle. All right, buddy.
Good
This has
game.
been fun. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next time.